A lot of Europeans doubt that there is enough space for Chinese civil society to flourish, and I think it's a legitimate point of view. At the same time, we know that there are reformers who want to give Chinese citizens more voice in public policy making and implementation. So by sharing European experiences through dialogue and cooperation, we can actively support Chinese civil society organizations.
Seven organizations from Europe and China have embarked on a journey of collaboration. They will implement 8 dialogues, 2 international conferences, and 16 participatory public policy initiatives.
Today, Chinese and European civil societies are facing increasing challenges such as climate change as well as complex issues like sustainable production and consumption. Meanwhile, some NGO practitioners from Europe and China decided to engage for the first time at the EU-China Civil Society Dialogue to explore the possibilities for citizens to play a more active role in public policy making and implementation, with the objective to strengthen and deepen civil society relationships across China and Europe.
To learn more about this event, we interviewed participants from the EU.
China Dialogue is the world's only fully bilingual website in Chinese and English on environmental issues. It's been in existence for about 5 years now. It's based in London and Beijing. We've also got a small office in San Francisco. And it's trying to create a fully bilingual, constructive, shared dialogue on all environmental and climate change related issues, and to try and build a space where you can really look for a kind of common perspective on these sorts of issues.
German Watch has been founded 20 years ago, watching German actors in international relations and mainly in environmental or in development activities. So global climate change, international food security and corporate responsibility are our 3 main issues.
My organization is called E3G, which stands for Third Generation Environmentalism. We are a non-profit aiming to promote sustainable development globally, and we work with a wide variety of stakeholders, including governments, businesses, NGOs and the public.
UNPET stands for Northern Alliance for Sustainability. It's an international NGO network. It's Central Asia, it's Eastern Europe, it's Russia, it's Western Europe, United States and Canada. So it's really the northern part of the hemisphere. We work in the north, but we have a lot of concerns for the south.
Well, I've been addressing the conference talking about how the media can help build citizen engagement on climate change issues, and to try and address maybe where some of the opportunities are for NGOs that want to think more strategically about communication with the media in China and in the rest of the world, and also maybe to think about where some of the challenges are for civil society groups who are attempting to communicate with media, or where some of the obstacles are for journalists who are facing obstruction from government officials or from actually all kinds of different institutions or within their own media systems.
It's up to Europe on the one hand side and up to China on the other hand side to show that it is possible to move towards a carbon low future. And if those 2 other giants will not act in a really bold way, there is no way to solve the climate crisis, or at least to restrict it to a manageable way. It's a challenge for all of us, for the civil societies in China, in Europe, for the think tanks, for the businesses and for the governments, really to move forward and to use the coming years for much better concepts for low carbon development.
We are engaged extensively in EU-China relationship conversation, whether at the diplomacy level or whether at the concrete project level. And we found that there is a huge gap between EU and China in terms of understanding of each other. And we realized that without that common understanding at a higher level, it's quite difficult or impossible to create a strategic relationship and cooperation on the ground. So it is about understanding Chinese NGOs here now, for me at the moment, and then figuring out how to create a platform for both NGOs to work together.
Well, last year I had a similar dialogue with Chinese NGOs and business on corporate social responsibility, and I really liked it. For me, it's really a learning process also to know a little bit more about reality in China. I think China is very important for achieving sustainable development in the world because it's a big country, a lot of people. I think there are a lot of things to do. Also because as ANTPET we do the facilitating for the NGOs in the UN processes on sustainable development and environmental issues. And there are NGOs, Chinese NGOs, that are interested in being more involved in this kind of participation, which I think is very, very good news and very important. So that was also the reason to come here and to have more networks, contacts with Chinese NGOs and just to see what we can do.
From a global perspective, this first EU-China civil society dialogue is just a small step towards a better understanding and relationship between Chinese and European citizens. And yet, it is also a rare opportunity to start discussing and addressing more consistently the common challenges and dilemmas that we are facing today between Europe and China.